Welcome back to CtrlAltDet, the podcast where we break into systems legally and occasionally break your brain with terrible security puns. I'm your host, and today we're talking about something near and dear to every pen tester's heart: the fine line between authorized security testing and oops, I'm now having a very awkward conversation with law enforcement. Yeah, that sound. Let's try to avoid that. So picture this: you're mid-engagement. You've just popped a box. You're feeling like a cybersecurity superhero. And then you notice something. Another system. It's right there. It's practically begging to be tested. Your client didn't specifically mention it, but it's obviously part of their infrastructure, right? Wrong. So wrong. Let me tell you about my friend. Let's call him Dave because that's not his name, and he'd kill me if I used his real one. Dave was doing a web app pen test, found an internal IP that wasn't in scope, but figured, it's all the same company. Turns out, that IP was managed by a third-party vendor with their own SOC, their own IR team, and their own very strong opinions about unauthorized access. Dave spent 3 hours on the phone explaining why he wasn't actually a threat actor, and that's only after the client could reach someone who could confirm he was legitimate. Key takeaway number 1. Your scope document is your best friend. It's your get-out-of-jail-free card. It's your hall pass. When in doubt, ask for explicit written permission. And I mean written. Yeah, go ahead, and a Slack message doesn't count when legal gets involved. Pro tip: if you discover something critical that's out of scope, and you will, stop. Document what you found, notify your point of contact immediately, and ask for scope expansion in writing before proceeding. Yes, even if it's 2 a.m. and you're on fire with momentum. Especially then. Let's talk about paperwork. I know. We became hackers to avoid paperwork. But here's the thing. Your authorization documentation is more important than any exploit in your toolkit. Before you even think about firing up Nmap, you need: number 1, a signed contract or statement of work. This isn't a suggestion. This is the foundation of your legal protection. Number 2, rules of engagement. This is where you and the client agree on what's fair game. Testing hours, systems in scope, systems explicitly out of scope, acceptable testing methods, and what to do if you accidentally knock something over like a digital bull in a china shop. Number 3, an acceptable use policy acknowledgement if you're accessing their systems or data. You'd be surprised how many organizations have very specific requirements about this. Number 4, an emergency contact list with phone numbers, email addresses, and maybe a carrier pigeon for redundancy. When you discover something catastrophic, you need to be able to reach someone immediately. Funny story time. I once started a pen test and found a critical vulnerability in the first hour. Like, anyone on the internet could own this company critical. I tried to call my emergency contact. No answer. Tried the secondary. Voicemail. Third contact. The number you have reached is no longer in service. I ended up having to submit a ticket through their customer support portal with the subject line "Urgent, Security Critical," and pray someone would escalate it. Spoiler: they thought I was a confused customer for 4 hours. Key takeaway number 2. Test your emergency contacts before you start testing. Make sure they actually work and that the people on the other end know who you are and what you're doing. Now for the fun part. Let's talk about the scenarios that make every pen tester wake up in a cold sweat. Scenario 1, the cascade of doom. You're testing a web application. You find an IDOR vulnerability. You iterate through a few IDs to prove the concept. Suddenly, you've accessed the CEO's personal information, or patient health records, or financial data for 50,000 customers. What do? Do not. Keep poking around to see how bad it is. Download a copy of the data to show them the severity. Screenshot personal information, but you do. Stop immediately. Document exactly what you did to find it. Contact your point of contact right now. Document the finding with the minimum information needed to reproduce it. Remember, your goal is to identify vulnerabilities, not to demonstrate every possible way they could be exploited. You're not trying to win a most thorough compromise award. Scenario 2, the third-party surprise. You're attacking what you think is your client's infrastructure. The Whois records say it's theirs. The DNS points to them. Everything screams, this is in scope. Then you get a call from AWS/Azure/GCP abuse team. Plot twist, your client is using a third-party service provider, and that provider has its own security team that doesn't know about your test. Now you're explaining to a cloud provider's abuse team why you are running what looks like an attack against their infrastructure. Pro tip, before you start testing anything in the cloud, make sure your client has notified their cloud provider about the test, has updated their cloud provider contact info to include you or your POC, has given you documentation proving they own or have permission to test those resources. Some cloud providers require specific authorization forms. AWS has a penetration testing request form. Azure has their own process. Don't skip this step. Scenario 3. The accidental DDoS. You're scanning a web application. You're using Burp Suite. Maybe you've cranked up the threads a bit because you're trying to be efficient. Suddenly, the application goes down. Congratulations, you've just accidentally DDoS'd your client's production environment. At 3 p.m. on a Tuesday, during their busy season, with customers trying to make purchases. How to avoid this? Start slow, always. Monitor your target's response times. Communicate with your client about when you're doing intensive testing. If they have a staging environment, use that for heavy testing. Set rate limits on your tools. And for the love of all things holy, if you do accidentally take something down, tell them immediately. Don't sit there hoping it comes back up on its own. Own it, apologize, and help them restore service if you can. Segment 4. The documentation gospel. Let's talk about the thing that saves your bacon when everything goes wrong. Documentation. I want you to document everything, and I mean everything. When you started testing, timestamps are your friend. Every command you ran, every system you accessed, every vulnerability you found, every time you communicated with the client, any deviations from the plan, any oh crap moments. Why? Because if someone comes knocking, law enforcement, legal, and angry CISO, your contemporaneous notes are your proof that you were doing exactly what you were authorized to do. Real talk. I keep a testing journal. It's a simple text file with timestamps. Every time I do something significant, I log it. January 15th, 2024, 1432. Started port scan of 192.168.1.0/24 per section 3.2 of SOW. It feels tedious. It is tedious. But the one time I needed it, when a client's auditor had questions about our testing methodology, that journal was worth its weight in gold. Bonus tip: take screenshots. Lots of screenshots. Timestamp screenshots. Screenshot your scope document. Screenshot your communications. Screenshot your terminal with commands and timestamps visible. You can never have too many screenshots. Segment 5. When things go legally sideways. Okay, worst case scenario time. Despite your best efforts, something has gone wrong. Maybe you accidentally tested something out of scope. Maybe someone else at the target organization didn't get the memo about your test. Maybe you've triggered an alarm and now there are questions. Step 1. Don't panic. Easier said than done, I know. Step 2. Stop all testing immediately. Like right now. Close your laptop if you need to. Step 3. Contact your point of contact at the client. Let them know what happened. Step 4. If law enforcement gets involved, here's what you do. Be polite and professional. Provide your authorization documentation. Invoke your right to have an attorney present before answering detailed questions. Do not try to explain your way out of it on the spot. Step 5. Contact your company's legal counsel immediately. If you're solo, have a lawyer's number ready before you start testing. Important note, this is why you carry that authorization documentation with you, all the time, on your laptop, in your email, maybe even a physical copy in your bag. When someone says, "You're not authorized to be in this system," being able to say, "Actually, here's the signed authorization," is incredibly valuable. I know a penetration tester who keeps a laminated copy of their authorization documents in their laptop bag. Excessive? Maybe. But they've never had to argue with building security or police about whether they were supposed to be doing what they were doing. Segment 6. The ethical gray zones. Now let's talk about the ethical stuff that keeps us up at night. Because pen testing isn't just about what's legal, it's about what's right. Gray Zone 1. The smoking gun. You're testing a system and you find evidence of actual criminal activity. Not a vulnerability, actual evidence that someone is doing something illegal. Maybe it's evidence of fraud. Maybe it's evidence of insider trading. Maybe it's something worse. What do? You're not law enforcement. But you also can't just ignore it. The right answer? Contact your client's point of contact immediately. Document what you found with the minimum detail necessary. Let them decide how to handle it. Your job is to report security issues to your client, not to investigate crimes. But here's the thing. If you find evidence of child exploitation or imminent physical danger to someone, that's different. That's call law enforcement territory. Know your legal obligations in your jurisdiction. Gray Zone 2. The overshare. You found something embarrassing. Maybe the CEO's personal email has interesting content. Maybe you've stumbled into HR records that reveal information you really didn't need to know about people. The rule: you saw nothing. You document the vulnerability that allowed access, you note the type of data that was exposed, and then you move on. You don't read details. You don't gossip. You don't share screenshots in your pen tester group chat. Your client is trusting you with access to their most sensitive information. That trust is sacred. Violate it, and you'll rightfully never work in this industry again. Gray Zone 3. The friend's company. Can you test your friend's company? Sure, as long as you follow all the same authorization processes. Should you? That's trickier. The problem is that personal relationships can complicate professional obligations. What if you find that your friend has been incredibly negligent about security? What if you find evidence they've been lying about their security posture to their board? My advice? If you do test for friends, be extra rigorous about documentation. Put everything in writing. Make sure there's a formal contract, not just a handshake. Be prepared for the friendship to get awkward. Segment 7. Staying safe in the field. Let's talk about physical safety for a second, because sometimes pen testing isn't just keyboard cowboys in a coffee shop. Scenario: you're doing a physical security assessment. You're attempting to tailgate into a secure facility. You're dressed the part, you've got your props, your backstory is solid. And then someone from actual security spots you. The right move. Immediately identify yourself, show your authorization documentation, ask to speak with your point of contact, stay calm and professional. The wrong move. Running. Never run. Oh my God, never run. Trying to talk your way out of it without showing authorization. Arguing with security guards who are just doing their job. Acting sketchy in any way. Pro tip: before you do physical security testing, make sure your client has notified their security team, or if they haven't, understand that's part of the test. You have a code word or phrase to immediately identify yourself if challenged. You have multiple ways to reach your point of contact. You understand local laws about trespassing. You're prepared to potentially have a really uncomfortable conversation with local police. I know someone who was doing physical pen testing and got tackled by building security. Tackled. His authorization documents went flying, his laptop bag went flying, his dignity went flying. Eventually it got sorted out, but it took 2 hours and one very annoyed client to make it happen. Now he wears a lanyard with his authorization letter in a plastic sleeve. Dorky? Absolutely. Effective? You bet. Segment 8. International complications. Quick sidebar for anyone doing international work. Laws about computer access vary wildly between countries. What's legal pen testing in one country might be a serious crime in another. Key points. Research local laws before testing. Understand where data is stored versus where you're testing from. Some countries require local authorization, not just authorization from your client. Some countries have mandatory reporting requirements if you find certain types of vulnerabilities. Data protection laws, GDPR, etc., apply to pen testers too. Example: some countries in the EU have strict rules about vulnerability disclosure. Some Asian countries have laws that make any unauthorized access illegal, even with a private agreement. Some Middle Eastern countries, let's just say, be very careful and get local legal advice. All right, let's wrap this up before I scare everyone away from pen testing forever, because despite all these horror stories, pen test is an amazing career. You get paid to think like a bad guy, break things legally. This has been CtrlAltDelete, and I'm your host, CtrlBlock. If you found this helpful, if you have your own oh crap pen testing stories, hit us up on social media. Just, don't tell us about anything illegal. Until next time, keep your exploits ethical and your documentation thorough.